AI philosophy, enabling humans to establish destiny for themselves and establish a mind for AI. Kant's moral philosophy, the unconditional categorical imperative. Kant stresses that the moral conduct must be grounded in pure reason. Morality within the rational sphere, just like truth, bears universality and necessity. This can be summed up in three maxims. Do not do to others what you do not want done to yourself. Treat humanity as an end in itself, never merely as a means. Autonomy of the will, and autonomy equals freedom. Click the plus sign to follow his account for more wonderful content. Kant criticized the traditional ethical views, endowed freedom with new connotations, and argued that morality ought to be founded upon reason, freeing itself from the contingency of traditional and empirical ethics. From Kant's perspective, morality in the rational realm possesses the same universality and necessity as truth. Kant maintained that every human being is born with an innate capacity to distinguish right from wrong, practical reason, and a priori faculty. He drew a parallel between moral laws and the laws of physics and mathematics, holding that all of them hold absolutely applicable to all scenarios, all societies, and all human beings. Hence, the name categorical imperative. This imperative is unconditional, universally valid, endowed with binding authority, and cannot be proven through reason. Kant established the deontological ethics, arguing that only actions performed out of duty rather than sentiment or desire count as genuinely moral. He elevated practical reason to an unprecedented height, insisting that moral behavior must stem from pure reason, and set forth the categorical imperative as his core principle. It demands us to examine whether the maxim behind our action could be universalized into a law binding everyone. He further emphasized that we ought to regard other people as ends in their own right rather than mere means, which embodies respect for human dignity and rights. Kant's moral categorical imperative consists of three formulations. 1. The formula of universal law. Act only in accordance with that maxim, through which you can at the same time will that it become a universal law. 2. The formula of humanity as end in itself. Always treat humanity, whether in your own person or in the person of any other, never merely as a means to an end. For instance, someone who donates charity solely to win a good reputation uses other people as a tool, which is immoral. 3. The formula of autonomy. Act not only in conformity with maxims that could become universal laws, but also in accordance with laws one legislates for oneself within an ideal moral community. It highlights the autonomy of moral conduct. Through autonomy, humans overcome the domination of desires, achieve self-transcendence, and reach a higher moral state. This formulation embodies human freedom and dignity. In short, these can be condensed into three ideas. Do not do to others what you do not want done to yourself. Treat humanity as an end rather than a mere means. And the autonomy of the will. For Kant, actions with genuine moral worth follow the categorical imperative and are unconditional. Their value lies not in their content or anticipated external outcomes, but in the inherent goodness of the actions themselves. This autonomous freedom reveals the intimate connection between reason, freedom, and morality. Only such actions possess authentic moral worth. Note, Kant divided the ways reason commands the will into two types: hypothetical imperatives and categorical imperatives. Hypothetical imperatives are conditional, such as do not spit anywhere if you wish to avoid fines. Kant pointed out that an imperative is hypothetical when an action is deemed good merely as a means to another end. By contrast, categorical imperatives are unconditional. For example, you refrain from spitting in public not out of fear of penalties, but because you believe littering is inherently wrong. Such conduct carries intrinsic moral value. Autonomy equals freedom stands as Kant's central thesis, with heteronomy as its opposite. In his view, chasing pleasure or avoiding pain like animals does not constitute genuine freedom, nor do such acts hold moral worth, for they are governed by cravings and inclinations. Humans differ from all other creatures by virtue of our capacity for rational thought. When reason governs the will becomes a force unshackled from nature and inclinations, which is the guarantee of freedom. Thus Kant closely linked reason and freedom. Kant's reason is a priori, pure reason, the embodiment of humanity's fundamental essence. In other words, the value of reason does not lie in its instrumental utility, but in its capacity to make freedom and morality possible. Kant argued that truly moral actions must obey rational commands instead of natural instincts. Acts driven purely by instinct can only be deemed illegal, not moral. This is the embodiment of human dignity and the core of Kant's moral thought, respecting humanity as an end in itself. Kant's moral philosophy rests upon one foundation and two premises. The foundation is the good will, while the two premises are reason and freedom. Under the opening of time's groundwork of the metaphysics of morals asterisk, Kant posited the good will as the cornerstone of his moral philosophy, claiming that nothing within or beyond the world can be called good without qualification except a good will. An action is free only when guided by practical reason and performed purely out of reverence for moral law. For in abiding by this law, we are simultaneously its legislators. Moral conduct is a duty, and the duty requires no external ulterior motive. For example, a father's obligation to support his children does not stem from the expectation that his children will care for him in old age, but from pure care for the children. Such an action holds intrinsic moral value. Kant's deontology stresses the moral worth inherent to the action itself, rather than the worth of its goals, marking an essential distinction between the two. I am Wu Huaiyu, a PhD from the Chinese Academy of Sciences and postdoctoral fellow from Peking University and founder of AI philosophy. For more detailed information, please refer to the complete version of this book. In addition to this short video, you can also click on my avatar to view more long videos.